Welcome to episode 1 of Quality Time.
I'm Alec Dent, here with my co-host and wife, Hannah Yoest.
Where should we start?
In the beginning was the collector,
Who looked upon his wrist and saw that it was bare. But it's not bare today. What are you wearing?
I am wearing my Timex Expedition from sometime in the early 2000s. It is the first watch that I remember getting. I was probably like 6 or 7 years old when I got it for birthday. And I lost it. But my loving wife purchased an identical version of it for me recently. So I thought, what better watch to wear for our first episode of this podcast?
Wow.
And what is on your wrist today?
I'm bare. It feels so illicit asking, like what are you wearing? You know, it sounds like dirty. But no, because I'm not wearing anything on my wrist.
Because why would you for a watch podcast?
I know. I'm off theme. But I am wearing this fabulous, super cozy maxing long sleeve sweater. So cozy. You're also in a cozy sweater. But because I have a girl crush on this writer, Eva Dixit. And she wrote for the Wall Street Journal about it's the title, the headline, very, very clever. It's The Long Game. It's good.
It was good.
Her editors
Long
write by her.
right?
Yeah. But the gist of the letter is the gist of the piece is that long sleeve sweaters are like the super ultra long sleeve is not very practical or useful. And she's totally right. But if you're sitting doing a podcast,
yeah.
They're pretty great.
It's wonderful.
I know. I got it because
your hands are so warm.
They are. I am very cozy. What's the story? What's the story with your sweater?
You got the sweater because you wanted me to look like Billy Crystal in When Harry Met Sally.
That's right, I did.
And I do.
You do.
Yeah, we rewatched this the other night, and I realized for the first time, he's wearing a Cartier tank in that.
He's like a total hype beast in that entire
incredible.
movie. Yeah.
The tank is a favorite episode of this, a favorite watch of this podcast.
Which you will come to find out.
Yes.
If you like and subscribe.
One of the best watches out there. It is a hype watch for a reason.
Is it a hype watch? It's like a legacy watch.
I think some people consider it a hype watch now just because of the big year that Cartier had. But it is more accurately considered a legacy watch. Like, there's a reason that it is so popular now, and a lot of that has to do with the history and the people who have worn it throughout history. I got my first tank this year to celebrate a new job, which was pretty awesome. It's been a long time watch that I wanted. And now that I have one, I want one in gold.
Well, you also want, because we listened to that Tony Traina episode where he was talking about the vintage ones.
That was really cool to hear about. Tony's done some fantastic work
we are
writing
big fans
and talking about
of Tony.
Big fans of Tony's work. But his coverage of Cartier tanks and the different references is fantastic. And yeah, I want one that says Paris on the dial now.
We'll get into more on that later.
Indeed.
What do you want this podcast to look like?
I think it's going to be us sitting and talking about watches and our thoughts on them. I'm coming at this from a watch nerd's perspective, and you have a background in poetry and graphic design. So while you are not wearing a watch right now, you have thoughts on watches.
I do.
And it is a pretty regular occurrence for me to see a watch on social media or something, and for me to show it to Hannah and for her to look at it and just go, no.
Well, this is the problem, is that there was a point when we were dating or when we were engaged when you had sent me easily a dozen watches on Instagram, and I was just enough. I was you were ruining my explore page. This is not, I don't care.
I'm so sorry.
You're not, though.
No, I'm not.
You got what you wanted. But you've kind of brought me around. I'm a total newbie. I'm a total Philistine. It's funny. Hodinkee used to have, or do they still have, the column where it was ask a newbie or
I don't know. I haven't seen that in a while.
I was listening to the episode where they brought her on just as, background research. And I was oh, that's sort of what we're doing. But, slightly to a different degree because I'm married into it. So here I am against my will. But no, I come at it from a design perspective So in the lead up and research for this, we watched a bunch of design watch related things. The Jonathan Hoefler episodes.
Fantastic. It was really cool to learn about.
Oh, it was so cool.
The documentary episode of I forget what the series is
Abstract
called.
on Netflix.
But it is all about the creation of a new font based on the scripts that you can see on a lot of vintage watches, which is fascinating from a watch perspective, fascinating perspective about learning about this new area of art that I was previously unfamiliar with. At any time a specific font got mentioned on screen that this guy had created, Hannah was just like, oh my god, he made that? He's behind Gotham?
Well, I knew he was behind Gotham. That's how I knew him. Oh, I'm not that much of a Philistine.
I just can't remember any of the other names.
Yeah, no, he's a legend for sure.
It's really incredible to find out that he's created
everything basically.
Yeah.
I didn't know he'd done the Tiffany's one. That one was like the surprise for me, because I knew the Rolling Stone ones. Like I knew the journalism ones. I did not realize he'd also done these consumer brand ones.
There's a connection to be made there as well, where he's created everything, and then there are a lot of fonts that are just downstream knockoffs of his work.
Right, yeah.
Which is exactly what you see in the watch industry as well, where there's Rolex, Cartier, a handful of others, Omega, who are responsible for virtually every watch design that exists. They did it, and then everyone else just copied them.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to something I wanted to get your perspective on. Looking ahead, predictions for the new year.
Yeah.
Because you and I had talked a little bit about how this coming year might be the year of the dupe.
Yeah. And I think that'll be true in a literal way, but also just in the sense of more watch brands following the lead of some of the more what are they called? Haute horology, haute couture, like that, the high-end watches. An example of this is we saw a lot of really successful, very expensive watches in 2024 that used Roman numerals, and they were critically acclaimed. And I think we're going to see a lot more affordable watches coming in the new year that make use of Roman numerals. This is kind of tying into a trend of the past 2 years of, I don't know what a good word for it is. It's not like unusual, but dials that make use of fonts, numeric systems that you don't typically see on watches. So the California dial, which is split between Roman numerals and Arabic numerals. Chinese numerals have been on a lot of really popular and well-received watches in the last 2 years. Hindu Arabic numerals as well. So I think we're going to see a continuation of that trend with the Roman numerals this year based on how well received these higher-end models from brands like Laurent, Ferrier have
performed.
Performed, yeah.
The market response to them.
Yeah.
Because you showed me that one banner image where it was like the top 5 watches of the year, and it was 4 of them had just the indices, and then like the one Cartier.
Or indices or nothing at all. In the case of the Berneron Mirage.
Yeah.
But we've already kind of started to see this. One of Timex's biggest successes of the year was its collaboration with Noah, which looks kind of like a Cartier tank, rectangular case, and uses Roman numerals.
But it's got
sold
the
out
cool
in
like,
minutes.
I know the cool like what is the
the moon phase.
Yeah, that was neat. I like that. The other predictions that we had, there was one other big one.
Well, on the subject of collaborations, collaboration fatigue.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This the Timex Noah collaboration is an example of a really well done collab that was very well received. Collaborations have been such a big part of the watch industry for the last 2 years, and it feels like people are kind of starting to get tired of them finally.
Yeah.
You're starting to see a lot fewer of them, but a lot of the major ones this year were panned. Possibly the best example of this was the Tag Heuer Kith collaboration, which was
really was that Not well received?
No, yeah, because it was $1,500 for a quartz plastic watch. The original...
And who would spend money on that?
Yeah, of course, it sold out, but enthusiasts were upset because the original Formula Ones were supposed to be affordable watches, and this felt like not true to that heritage, but also just for what you're buying, it was a lot of money. And it was kind of epitomizing the worst impulses of these collaborations, where you just make it a limited edition, you stick another name on there, maybe do something with the design, but functionally it's the same watch, and then jack the price up. In this case, they jacked the price way up, which pissed people off. But another example of this fatigue, this is the first year in recent history where there hasn't been a lot of coverage of lists of the best collaborations in the watch world of the year. This is something that was a regular feature at the end of the year from publications in the watch industry for the last 2 years.
Well, there's 2 days
I haven't
left.
seen one. There are 2 days left. Maybe maybe everyone will start publishing their favorite collaborations today or tomorrow. But I can't think of enough collaborations off the top of my head that really made an impact to even make a list.
And then there was one more prediction. Do you want to talk about it, or do we want to be like, point to the Substack and be like, you have to go read the piece to get the one more...
I think we'll include a few more predictions that we can point people to, but the one more that I think you're getting at that you want to talk about was Boxy watches.
Yeah, because I think I helped with that one.
Yes.
Me with my zero knowledge, but
the
enthusiasm. I make up for it with my
the
joy
Cubitus.
Yeah. The Cubitus.
Huge watch this year, both in dimensions and impact. As I mentioned earlier, Cartier had a huge year. Tanks, very popular. The Santos, another rectangular / square shaped case.
But everybody
hates the Cubitus.
But like the reasons that they critique it are the same, that they ignore it in the Mirage, right? The cost, the price point, it's like limiting.
Yeah, I think there are also critiques of it being lazy design-wise.
Why?
I don't entirely buy into this. I think the Cubitus is actually a cool watch. I've had the opportunity to have one on the wrist, and I really liked how it looked and
Did you take any photos?
Yeah, which we can...
Well, you didn't show me!
Yes, I did.
When was this?
I
don't remember
2 months
this.
ago.
When did you see it?
When I went in to say hi to Mo.
Without me.
Sorry. I didn't know you would care.
Of course I care. I think it's cool.
It is cool. It's also $40,000 for the cheapest model.
So? Just because I can't afford a Leica doesn't mean I wouldn't want to touch it.
Okay. We can go touch the Cubitus soon.
Okay. From like a design perspective, it doesn't strike me as dissimilar from... I don't want to say something embarrassing where like people are like dogpiling me after and being like, this bitch doesn't know anything.
You're a woman talking about watches. People are going to do that no matter what you say.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, the criticism that it's derivative is whatever, fair.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Right,
I
and
think
like
that's
the
more
price
important.
point is limiting, and the haters are all like comfortably below that, I guess.
So are we. We should say.
For now. I'm gonna sell that screenplay.
Yeah. But between these 3 models being very successful in different ways.
Which 3 models?
The Tank, Santos, and Cubitus. Another popular square rectangular model on the more affordable front this year, again, the Timex Noah collaboration, which sold really well. And I think brands are going to take notice, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more Boxy watches. So those are the 3 that we have so far. I think we're going to add to them. You were toying around with an idea about geometric watches, like, was it the Piaget Polo?
If I could remember the name of it.
I'm telling you the name of it.
Yeah, sure.
Explain your idea.
Well, it's pretty. But I think it's cool. Like, I think it's like a more of a one-off, and it's got the hard stripe, the hard stripe, the lines of it are geometric and not traditional. I think this was another prediction we were toying around with, was the idea of seeing derivatives of the Mirage and the Crash, where people or brands try to go for more abstract shapes. I don't think that that's quite right. I think that is too like creatively difficult, like asking a lot from brands. But I think that the more geometric.
Mm-hmm. And the Polo is such a great example of this too, because it is two disparate, almost contrasting geometries taking place at once. It is a round watch, but those very solid horizontal. I think they have even some vertical lined versions, but the horizontal one is the more famous one. Yeah. Blocks almost.
Yeah. It's like continued the strap lugs across the dial. And
on the secondhand market, they are increasing in popularity. I'll say I see a lot more of those. So maybe we will see that translate into something new. Maybe my crystal ball will turn out to be correct. You're right about everything.
That's not true. So we know that's not true.
That's
especially when it comes to watches, because I'm learning. This is the beauty of this, is that you're gonna it's gonna be like documenting my succumbing to the jargon and the being sucked into.
It's going to be great. By the end of this, you're going to be talking about how Burner-On is the only watch worth owning.
I'm going to have all the reference numbers just right off the tongue. Yeah, for sure.
But that's what
check back in 6 months.
That's what 2025 is going to look like. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of this episode, the end of the year. Any last thoughts?
Like and subscribe.
What she said. And
we're out.